planted them in 1986. And believe it or not, I was taller than that tree when we started.
The giant pine tree in front of Kathy and David Carlin's yard is being donated today for the city's second annual Community Tree Lighting Festival.
I'm happy that we can do that, and I've never been to a tree lighting thing before, so I'm really looking forward to it.
At 10 a.m., the tree contractor arrived on site. A team from the Coon Rapids Public Works Department came to provide assistance. The entire operation was under the supervision of City Forester Tom Shabilla.
This year's tree is a Norway spruce tree. It's got a really nice form and a pretty big size, so that's our challenge today, is to get it onto our trailer safely and get it down the street and to its home for this winter.
It's a delicate operation to get the tree safely onto the trailer. Many neighbors came out to watch, including Coon Rapids Community Strength Foundation member Tim Howe, who found the tree donors.
My wife, Susan, and I decided to go for a walk and just knock on some doors. And by chance, the couple that lived where the tree was thought it was a great idea.
After getting the tree tied down on the trailer, it's finally on the move, with a police escort leading the way to Boulevard Plaza. It's the same site as last year's first ever Community Tree Lighting Festival, next to the Coon Rapids Ice Center.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh.
Last year's event drew a couple hundred people, where there were bonfires to warm up to, holiday music, and Santa for the kids. Scott Latta says he's super excited for the second annual tree lighting ceremony.
Make sure that you're here, at least by 5 o'clock, because the tree lighting is going to happen at 5:30.
The second annual Coon Rapids Community Tree Lighting Festival will be on Saturday, December 3rd from 3:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Take pictures with Santa and bring a non-perishable food donation for the Coon Rapids High School food shelf. The big countdown happens at 5:30 with fireworks.
Back in 2017, the Minnesota State Legislature updated rules related to development in the Mississippi River Corridor Critical Area, which runs through the Twin Cities. Recently, local cities, including Coon Rapids, were required to adopt new standards.
Minnesota is the headwaters of the Mississippi. They feel it's very important for us to preserve the quality of this water, and they do that through controlling the construction that goes along and any work that goes along the shorelines, the bluff lines along the Mississippi River.
The Mississippi River Corridor Critical Area, which was designated as such back in 1976, stretches for 72 miles from the cities of Ramsey and Dayton down to Hastings and Ravenna Township. It includes 54,000 acres of land along both sides of the river.
Most of these rules relate to those property owners that live along the river or own property along the river. Most of it is private residential homes. There are some public institutions, for example, Anoka Ramsey Community College is along the river. They're also subject to these rules.
The three big changes include new design standards for acceptable river access, including paths, stairways, water-oriented structures, patios, and decks. Specific definitions have been developed for things like bluff line and bluff impact zone. And finally, permits are now required for certain land alterations and vegetation removal.
Previously, we didn't really have a permitting requirement if someone was going to do some fairly significant work along the river, whether that's vegetation removal, putting in riprap, a retaining wall. We didn't really have a process for doing that. So this will now require a permit if you're going to be doing any of that kind of work.
The DNR created a model ordinance to help cities update their own ordinances to align with the new regulations.
Anything that was legally established prior to the updated ordinance will be considered a legal nonconformity if it doesn't meet the new standards. And so there are protections under state law for legal nonconformities.
To comply with DNR requirements, the Coon Rapids City Council adopted an updated zoning ordinance for the critical area in the fall of 2022.
So the city council, we need to adopt them and make them part of the city ordinances because we'll be responsible for the permitting and for the enforcement.
A lot of the changes, I think, are really related to permitting, clarification about rules. Things like structure setbacks are not changing. So I think it's important for people to understand that this is really updating and modernizing our ordinance. But I don't know that there's drastic changes that we're making to it.
In the end, everyone along the 72-mile corridor hopes the changes will help protect a gem so it's around for generations to come. If you'd like to learn more about the changes or find information on development standards and permitting requirements, just log on to the city's website, coonrapidsmn.gov/MRCCA. Those festive light displays are beginning to pop up around the city, and your efforts could earn you a little green. The Coon Rapids Arts Commission is currently accepting entries for the 2022 Holiday Lighting Contest. There are 2 categories, one for moving light displays and one for non-moving displays. Cash prizes of up to $100 will be awarded. Judging is based on overall impact, visual appeal, creativity, and variety. The deadline to enter is Friday, December 2nd at noon. For more information or an entry form, just log on to the city's website, coonrapidsmn.gov. The Public Works building is getting some improvements. This week, the City Council awarded contracts for the remodeling project. Plans include upgrades to the front office area, lunchroom, computer area, restrooms, and locker rooms. Changes are being proposed to the city's animal control ordinances. Currently, you need a multiple pet permit if you have 3 or more pets. However, under a new ordinance being considered, a multiple pet permit would only be required with 4 or more pets. Also, new ordinances would eliminate the need for owners to license dogs and register cats. The holiday shopping season will soon be kicking into high gear. The City Council has proclaimed November 26th as Small Business Saturday. They are encouraging residents to support local businesses this holiday season and throughout the year.
It's just really helped me find that passion in creating stuff and designing.
Senior Aaron Casey spoke before a group of local industry leaders about his experience in the engineering program at Coon Rapids High School. It's one of 3 programs which uses curriculum written by Project Lead the Way.
For this class, you're doing a lot of the research on your own.
The nonprofit organization develops STEM curriculum in science, technology, engineering, and math for schools across the nation.
Is there an activity or a specific project you worked on that really stands out?
Project Lead the Way President and CEO David Demet was joined by others to see the curriculum in action.
The adrenaline wouldn't be as high, but the blood cortisol would still have a significant enough difference.
In the Biomedical Innovations class, students use what they've learned about design and statistics.
So they're applying that knowledge to designing their own research question and designing a study to test something about human physiology or human psychology.
In the computer-integrated manufacturing classroom, students design their projects in 3D modeling and use a flowchart.
What you're looking at here is an AGV, or an automated guided vehicle. Our whole purpose is to be able to follow a line on the ground.
It's possible to live with it, but it's really rare.
In the medical interventions class, students work as genetic counselors while they research a genetic disorder.
We really do try to have all the careers, because kids are like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse. And so we're trying to show them, this is an example of a job where you don't have to be a doctor or a nurse.
Project Lead the Way, showcasing student learning today as they prepare for the STEM careers of the future.
It's such a great opportunity for us to share what we're doing and kind of show off our students that we're so proud of.
If you'd like to learn more, the Coon Rapids High School Center for Biomedical Sciences and Engineering program will host an information night on Tuesday, December 6th at 6:30 p.m. in the school auditorium.
We we are here today, 10 years later, to thank our supporters and honor our staff and our participants.
A special celebration inside the Anoka County Courthouse this month as Anoka County Veterans Court marked a decade of accountability and compassion.
My name is Jenny Walker Jasper. I've been at the Veterans Treatment Court from the beginning. Clearly the most important thing I've ever done in my 21 years on the bench.
Sentence of law judgment of this court, they will stay adjudication of guilt, place you on supervised probation for a period of up to 5 years. On the following
CTN did a profile on the Veterans Court back in 2017 when the court was celebrating 5 years in operation. Just like civilian court, there's a judge, prosecutors, and defense attorneys, but punishment is replaced with rehabilitation.
These are people that we've asked to go to war for us, and they come back, they have issues, and we're trying to help them. A lot of them are PTSD issues, a lot of them are alcoholism issues, all that are related to combat or service.
Since November 2012, 122 veterans have gone through the court. 84 have graduated, which is a 69% graduation rate. The recidivism rate is just 12% and is defined as a conviction of a non-traffic misdemeanor or higher offense within 3 years of graduation.
I told you my story because I want you to understand that this court is where hope comes alive and new opportunities and possibilities are created for veterans like myself.
Paul Evangelist, who served in Vietnam, is the Peer Mentor Program Coordinator. For the past 8 years, he's matched mentors with veterans.
What I do is I recruit veterans that might be interested in being a mentor. I interview with them to determine if they and I think that they are appropriate.
There are currently 14 volunteer mentors who are veterans themselves with an honorable discharge. Once again, giving back to their country by helping other veterans struggling to find their own footing.
I think a lot of them, they see it as a chance not only to deal with the issue that brought them to court, but also giving them the help for lifelong issues that they've been having and hopefully want to end.
Good morning, happy to see you.
As students arrive in the morning at Adams Elementary,
Morning, guys.
school principal Ann Herlofsky's there to greet them.
That's one of the best pieces of my job.
Good morning, friends.
Checking in on students as she goes.
Just to kind of check in with them and make sure what I can do to help support them.
Herlofsky supports students at school while also serving her country as a member of the U.S. Navy.
So I commissioned into a direct commissioning program with the United States Navy in 2004 as an intelligence officer.
It's the best of both worlds for Herlofsky, who's considered as an active duty member of the Navy while pursuing a full-time civilian career as principal. She grew up in a military family.
My dad is a retired Air Force Chief Master Sergeant who had like 35 some years. I just knew from a young age that that's what I wanted to do.
This past summer, she spent 6 weeks in England doing intelligence work. The deployment was in support of the Ukraine crisis.
It was a wonderful opportunity to go spend time there this summer. And I'm fortunate that the school district is very accommodating.
While Herlofsky was in England, she received a promotion.
Just this past July, I was promoted to commander.
Good.
Ann says it's important for students to learn about Veterans Day in a kid-friendly way.
Because many of them don't have a connection to the military. And if they do, it might be what they see on TV.
Adams Elementary will celebrate Veterans Day with an all-school assembly, as is the yearly tradition.
Our choir will sing some songs and then just kind of talk about what Veterans Day is and why it's something that we need to acknowledge.
We've been seeing a lot more RSV than usual.
At the Elina Clinic in Ramsey, pediatrician Dr. Eric Barth says he's seen more cases of respiratory syncytial virus in his patients.
Patients are presenting with fever, cough, congestion, runny nose, headache, those types of symptoms, and it's really hard to know whether we're dealing with COVID or influenza or RSV.
According to the Minnesota Department of Health, the number of patients hospitalized with RSV in the Twin Cities jumped this past week. The line in dark blue shows 75% are infants less than 1 year old.
Right now, the hospitals are full of patients with RSV. So the children's hospitals in particular have very low capacity, and they're operating a lot of times with limited staffing, which makes it even more challenging.
Typically, most children have been exposed to RSV by the age of 2. There are no vaccines for it. Doctors say the COVID-19 lockdown likely had a detrimental effect.
Now we've got kids who, again, have not had exposure to these viruses over the last couple of years, and now that we're returning to more normal activities, now they're getting hit with these viruses, and it's hitting them pretty hard.
To protect ourselves, we need to cover our cough and wash hands frequently. Doctors with young patients are bracing themselves for the cold and flu season with a triple threat of influenza, COVID, and RSV.
Here's a quick recap of the Tuesday, November 1st City Council meeting. The meeting started off by recognizing 3 promotions within the Coon Rapids Police Department.
I, Adam Jacobson, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Adam Jacobson was recently promoted to Captain of Professional Standards. He was hired as a patrol officer in 2005 and has served as a detective and a patrol sergeant. Interna Kim and Dan Freiberg are the newest sergeants on the police force. Kim was hired as a patrol officer in 2005 and has also been a detective and a canine handler. Freiberg started as a police officer in 2012 and most recently worked at the department's retail substation at Riverdale. Congratulations to all 3 men. Despite our mild fall weather, we all know winter is on the way. A reminder that winter parking restrictions are now in effect until April 1st. That means no parking on city streets between 2 and 6 a.m. and also after a snowfall of 3 or more inches until the street has been plowed curb to curb. Public Works crews appreciate everyone's cooperation. 2 Coon Rapids roadways will see year-round parking restrictions following action by the City Council this week. Parking is now banned on the east side of 125th Lane, which is located just north of Main Street and west of Shenandoah Boulevard. Another new ordinance bans parking on the south side of Mississippi Boulevard by the Mississippi River Regional Trail near Uplander Street. City officials hope the change will eliminate site obstructions and increase safety for pedestrians who use the trail. And that's a quick recap of the November 1st City Council meeting. As always, you can find the full meetings on cable or the CTN Coon Rapids YouTube channel.
Construction's almost done on the Bunker Hills Dog Park. The improvements, which began in September, include paving over the old gravel parking lot. There's a new concrete sidewalk which leads up to the dog park entrance. Inside the large dog park area, there's now an 8-foot wide paved trail loop which connects up to the Bunker Hills Trail system. Both the big and small dog areas have an ADA bench pad where visitors can sit and relax. Anoka County Parks awaits a few finishing touches, like installing the gates for the new corral area and putting up signs. The dog park should reopen later this month. These are the first significant improvements to the park since it first opened in 2013. The Bunker Hills Dog Park is a joint venture between Anoka County and the cities of Coon Rapids and Andover.
Ready? 1, 2, down, up, squeeze.
A nonprofit business that caters to youth interested in cheerleading celebrated its first anniversary this summer.
7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up 1.
AMP Athletics moved into its new home in the spring of 2021 and was up and running that summer.
We moved in the middle of the pandemic, so that was definitely interesting. It definitely had its own little set of challenges on top of just starting an organization to begin with. The community came out and really gave us the support, and the interest was there, and it's just been growing ever since.
Pike, 5. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn 7, 8.
AMP offers weekly classes for kids ranging in age from 18 months to 18 years. They also offer competitive teams at certain times of the year, along with clinics, camps, and open gyms.
And the first thing they ask is, how young is too young? I'm like, if they can stand, I can work with them. Nice.
Hammock grew up doing gymnastics and switched to cheerleading in college. What started as a part-time gig 2 years after college turned into a full-time job this year when she became program director.
I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
AMP's mission is to provide the highest quality instruction at an affordable price. The nonprofit is governed by a volunteer board of directors, and day-to-day operations are run by an administrative team. In addition to program fees and fundraising efforts, they rely on donations to keep the doors open.
Hit 1.
It's been really nice because I think for a lot of the athletes that come in and maybe dance hasn't been their thing, gymnastics isn't quite their thing, this is a really good medley of the two. And so they feel like they have a place, they feel like they have a sport that fits them, and you can just see them light up when they come in. It's awesome.
It's a way to make it work in a tight space and try to achieve our goals.
Dozens of people turned out Thursday night for the final open house for the Highway 610 and East River Road Interchange project. The city is still waiting for MnDOT approval for the layout, which proposes a northeast loop as the off-ramp from westbound 610 to East River Road. An on-ramp from East River Road to eastbound 610 would also be constructed to complete the interchange.
This is the design we're moving forward with. So if it falls into place that MnDOT agrees, then we're just solely waiting for construction dollars. Then we know we're building this thing in this location without a doubt. Now how do we afford it?
The project is estimated to cost between $30 and $35 million. If the necessary funding is secured, the earliest construction could start is 2024, but more likely 2025 or 2026. 6 single-family homes and 1 business would need to be acquired to construct the interchange. In addition to improved access, city officials say the project would help support economic growth in the industrial park, improve safety, and help first responders heading to emergency calls on the highway.
Let's see a little bit more of the angling down of that club face.
GolfTEC started its golf instruction operations at Bunker Hills back in 2013. Now, for the first time, the center's getting a remodel.
It's nice to have a bit of a brand refresh and get us up to date.
As you enter the building, you'll notice the new carpet on the floor for golfers who want to work on their short game.
And we're now going to have indoor putting green, which is great for our putting lessons, so we can showcase some of our putting technology now.
The 2 bays have also been updated with new carpet.
We used to have like a black rubber flooring, which was a bit problematic.
In addition to the new flooring, they've installed LED can lighting, which is meant to enhance the 3D technology used by GolfTEC.
The clarity of the images should be a little bit better with the new lighting, plus the addition of the black carpet.
In the lobby, there's still more work which needs to be done. GolfTEC hopes the reopening of the center will be just a couple of weeks away.
Our days are numbered outdoors, so it'll be really fun to get back inside and get back to work with all of our students who are eagerly anticipating the reopening.
We are in desperate need of an upgrade here.
This week, officials from Blaine and Anoka County invited lawmakers from the state and federal level to take a closer look at a dangerous stretch of Highway 65, which cuts through Blaine.
5 of those intersections are the most congested, dangerous, and deadly intersections in the entire 7-county region.
The Blaine Police Department averages 10 calls a day for accidents on Highway 65.
We are on track to eclipse over 3,500 calls this year alone on Highway 65 in Blaine. Okay. That's staggering.
The City of Blaine, Anoka County, and MnDOT have been working on plans to improve access and safety on Highway 65. The improvements would include overpasses at major intersections, which would also improve traffic flow.
Right now, traveling the entire corridor from Ham Lake to Spring Lake Park during the busiest periods can take 40 minutes. After these are built, 10 minutes.
There are 3 alternatives that were developed with this project. We're steamrolling ahead. There's been money secured already. There's still a ways to go, and we're going to be ready if that money hits the ground.
The reconstruction project has secured $23 million to date of an estimated cost of $163 million. Funding applications have been made at both the state and federal level to push the project forward.
This project is a significant project, and there are many phases to it, but it's critical that it starts now. It's critical that shovels go in the ground here in the next year.
New home, lots of cardboard.
Judy Watkey is a frequent visitor to the Coon Rapids Recycling Center.
I've been coming to the recycling center since the beginning.
In fact, 2 decades ago, during her first visit to the recycling center, she was featured in an article and photo in the Star Tribune.
This is the jacket I was wearing then. I'm somebody who doesn't like to throw things away.
Judy isn't the only one who's conscientious about what ends up in the garbage. Plenty of local residents and small businesses use the recycling center, which is now in the midst of a big expansion project that will continue into spring.
If you don't need to come in and it's a little crazy and busy in here, it's going to be easier for you to park outside and enter through the side gates.
Carts are available for those who need them, and you can still drive into the center if you have big, bulky items. You're just asked to slow down and watch for pedestrians.
So there are spots along the way, so if you come in the yard for certain items, there are designated parking spots for those items.
The project includes the renovation of the main building that houses the cashier and office area. Also, a 130-foot-long building will be constructed on the east side of the center. It will house bales of recycling materials, styrofoam, and a garage, along with a reuse room.
We get paint, we get a lot of materials that come in here who have a lot of life left in them, or they're brand new and never been used.
Oh, it's really cool. When I go by a garbage can, a dumpster, it just breaks my heart to see things in there that I know could be recycled, that we could be reusing for good, and just keep it out of the landfills.
A little construction won't stop Judy Watkey from using the recycling center in the coming months, and she hopes others will continue to do the same.
When I showed up today with a trunk full of recycling, I had no idea you would be here, but it just touched my heart that you're here with a camera telling the story of just how this place is growing and will provide for even more people to bring their goods in.